All right, so problem number one. Uh-huh. Okay. Oops. All right. So this first one says Rachel read twice as many books in July as she did in June. Okay. If she read a total of 24 books during these 2 months, how many books did she read? So some important features on this problem is she read twice as many books in July as she did in June. And then we also should know she read a total of 24 books. That's really all the information we need in this problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's call July X and June Y. I just picked that way. Sound good? How many total books can you guarantee she read? So X plus Y equals 24. There's one of my equations. Now we have to decipher. She read twice as many books in July as she did in June. So July, she read twice as many books as she did in June. Does that make sense? So now, once you have it set up, you can plug this in right here. So I get 2y plus y equals 24. So that gives me 3y equals 24. Divide each side. So in y, she read 8 books. She read a total of 24 books, agreed? So that means I'm going to go x plus 8 equals 24. So how many did she read in July? What should I do with this? Yeah, subtract the 8, so I get 16 books. Okay? So some of you might approach this problem where you're like, oh, I'm going to go 1 and 23 or 2 and 12. You could try and maybe guess that way, but if you set it up as a system of 2 equations, you should be able to do it. And don't let this frighten you. Go and do it. Okay? You know, yes, I understand sometimes the reading of stuff becomes a little sillier. All right, can I move on to the next problem? We good? No? No what? Oh, I'm sorry. Ready? All right, here we go. Second problem. Let's see how well I can type. Okay. So Sam worked a total of 4 hours this past weekend. Devin worked 6 hours. Sam earns $8 less per hour than twice the amount Devin. So that should be hour. Then twice the amount Devin earns per hour. The total money earned working by both individuals combined this past weekend was $220. Okay. All right. So we have so let's call Sam X and let's call Devin Y. And I just had to the reason I'm not doing S and D is my S's could look like 5s, my D's could look like 0, so we'll just stick away from that. So X and Y. All right, so let's highlight what we know. Sam worked a total of 4 hours this past weekend, and Devin worked 6. Okay, Sam, Devin. Okay, so let's just stop there. Sam worked 4 hours this past weekend, Devin worked 6. Okay. Then it says, Sam earns $8 less per hour than twice the amount Devin earns per hour. And then we know that the total that they both made was this. Okay. So let's look at the green one first. Okay, Sam. Sam is what letter? So Sam earns $8 less than twice what Devin makes. That's trickier to do. So Sam, we called X, right? Earns $8 less per hour. So I have to subtract 8 from it. That vocabulary is sometimes tougher in math. Okay? Then twice the amount Devin earns per hour. Well, who's Devin? He's that. Devin's going to make twice that, less $8 is what Sam makes. Okay? Hey, how many hours did Sam work? 4. And he got some wage. How many hours did Devin work? 6. We'll call that Y. And they made $220 between the two of them. So this X value here is how much Sam would make per hour. This Y value here is how much Devin would make per hour. If I take 4 times what Sam makes and 6 times what Devin makes, the total bill is $220. Okay, is this one set up to do some sort of substitution? Can I do something with this? And if so, what should I do with that? Yeah, plug it in for that X value. Okay? All right, so I have 4 parentheses plus 6y equals 220. So X used to live here, but now it's going to be 2y minus 8. Distribute, solve. So 8y minus 32 plus 6y equals 220. Like terms, I get 14y minus 32 equals 220. Let's see, add 32 to both sides. Those cancel. 14y equals, is that 252? Divide each side by 14. So how many times does 14 go into 225? Or 252, excuse me. 252 divided by 14. Use your phone. Calculator, please. 252 divided by 14 is how much? 18? Cool. What does this 18 mean, friends? Who is Y? All right, so Devin makes $18 per hour. Oh, because the total bill that the person paid out was $220. So Sam worked only 4 hours, so 4 times his hourly wage plus 6 hours that Devin worked, and his hourly wage would have gotten us that. If I just did X and Y, that just means that, hey, these two people made $220, but there wasn't a relationship on how many hours each worked, because we're talking about hourly wage. Okay, so friends, if Y equals 18, what should I do with that 18 in order to figure out how much Sam made? What do you think? Yeah, plug it in. So I'm going to take this 18. I could plug it in here for that y or the bottom y. Which y looks more appropriate? Top equation or the bottom? Bottom? They're both going to get you the exact same answer, right? Okay, and I like what you're thinking, go with the bottom, but if I do the bottom, I'm going to go 6 times 18, I have to subtract and then divide by 4. Or what happens if I plug it in here? I get, look what this is equal. X equals is Sam. Who are we looking for now? Sam. So if I plug it in the top, it's going to be the exact same answer, but sometimes one of the equations might be like, here you go. One of them might be like, here, you got to do some math to get there. So I would choose to use the top one, okay? But I like your thinking. It's going to get the same answer regardless. So if you did it on a test or quiz, I'm just trying to show that being that we're trying to figure out this x value here. So I know that x equals 2y minus 8. So I know that my y value is 18. So that's 36 minus 8. I think that comes to 24. Did I do that math right?
28.
28. Ooh, thank you. Per hour. I'd be a much better teacher if I could do the math. Huh. There we go. Okay. Now, it's not fair that we throw problem number 3 in at this point in time because I like cheeseburgers. And I'm sorry, Stirp's mind, you start talking about food, Stirp's mind starts thinking about best cheeseburger ever. But that's just how I roll. But let's go ahead and do it. Let's do number 3. Cheeseburgers take 6 minutes to make, and hamburgers take 5 minutes. Okay. Cheeseburgers sell for $5 and hamburgers for $4. A certain combination of cheeseburgers and hamburgers cost $44 and took 54 minutes to make. I don't think you're at McDonald's if it's taking that long to make that. How many cheeseburgers and how many hamburgers were in the order? Okay, so I changed cheeseburgers to CB, I changed hamburger to HB. Following my madness? My fingers couldn't type fast enough to keep us kind of interested. All right, so let's look at this. All right, so I'm going to call cheeseburgers, let's call it X. Let's call hamburgers Y. You still with me? All right, let's go through the problem, see what we got. It says cheeseburgers take 6 minutes to make. Hamburgers take 5 minutes to make. Is there some other time that's given someplace in the problem? Yeah. Okay, so let's make the equation off that. So I have 6x plus 5y equals 54 minutes. There's a reason I did that first. You had to take what was in a sentence and then locate where, you're talking about minutes and minutes. You had to take a look for where minutes took place later. If I do the highlighter, and it says cheeseburgers sell for 5, hamburgers sell for 4. Do we have a value later? $44. Okay. So cheeseburgers sell for 5, hamburgers sell for 4, and we get 44. So this top one had to deal with time, and this bottom one had to deal with money. And sometimes you have to get your equations based on doing that. Okay? Which is sometimes a little tougher to do. Okay? All right. So, my good friends, one day we'll all be eating cheeseburgers. Okay, those are my two equations. So, if I add these two equations together right now, does x or y go away? No. Is there a way I can multiply the x value by only one number and the x value below would go away, or the y value by a number and the y value go away? No, I think I have to multiply both equations. Now I have to make sure one of the equations, one of the number, whatever number I choose to multiply by, I have to make sure it's negative, so when I add the two together, they go away. Okay? All right. So, what would you like, x or y? Your choice. X? Okay, we're choosing to get rid of x. Okay? So, I have a 6x and a 5x. What's the smallest number that both 6x or 6 and 5 go into? 30, not 12. 5 doesn't go into 12, but 6 does. But 30, 5 and 6 goes into both. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this whole top by 5 and this whole bottom by negative 6. Now, I could have multiplied the whole top by negative 5 and the whole bottom by positive 6. We just had to choose. One of them had to be negative. I'm going to distribute over the parentheses. So that's going to give me 30x plus 25y equals, let's see, 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2, that's 25, that's 270. Does my math look okay? Okay. And then distribute on bottom. So I'm going to get negative 30x minus 24y equals negative, let's see, 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2, 6 times 4 is 24, so that's 264. Add these up. Those cancel. 25y minus 24y is 1y. 1y is the same thing as y. 270 minus 264 is 6. So I made 6 hamburgers. Okay. How do I figure out the cheeseburgers? What should I do with y equals 6? Yeah, plug it in. I'm going to plug it in here or here. Doesn't matter which one. It's your choice. I'll plug it into the bottom. There was a y here, but now it's going to be a 6. Do the math. Subtract 24. So 5x is equal to 20. So how many hamburgers or cheeseburgers do we make? 4. So this order of 4 cheeseburgers and 6 hamburgers took 54 minutes to make. The order of 4 cheeseburgers and 6 hamburgers also costs $44. Okay, and I'm not sure which restaurant that is. This was just a made up in the mind of us math teachers here. Okay? So, again, on some of these word problems, it's something that you definitely want to be going through, seeing if you can work through it. Okay? Try and make logical. If you were making cheeseburgers and hamburgers and you came up with an answer of like 577.26, you might have made a mistake. Because how do you get 0.26 of a burger? Picking something out of the trash that somebody already nibbled on. Ew. Claire, this next question's for you, okay? Has to do with swimming. Can I move on? Ready? Here we go. All right. So, a swimming team used vans and cars to transport swimmers to a meet. Okay? So I guess the parents aren't going anymore. Or maybe they're meeting you there. Vans each had 7 swimmers and cars each had 3 swimmers. Total of 66 swimmers were transported using a total of 10 vehicles. Okay? So some information we should know. A van can take 7 swimmers and cars could take 3 swimmers. We had a total of 66 total swimmers and we had a total of 10 vehicles. All right. Can we call vans V and cars C? Is that okay? Let's do our first equation. How many total vehicles did we have? 10. So V plus C equals 10. Agree? Now, they tell us that a van can carry 7 swimmers, so 7V. A car can carry 3 swimmers. How many were on our team? 66. Is this set up in a way that we can solve it now? And if so, how should we go about it? What should I do with my equations here? Cool. Okay, multiply the top by -7. I like that. You could have also done -3, but I like your thinking. We'll stick with that. Okay, so we'll distribute this over the parentheses. So I get -7V minus 7C equals -70. And then this one just comes down. All right, add them together. Those gone. So I get -4C is equal to -4. So C equals 1. So we had 1 car. How many vans? 9. There's 10 total, right? One of them's a car. So we got 9 vans. Huh. Kind of seems like a waste to only have 1 car. It's like, can you guys just squeeze in there? Share a seatbelt? So we don't have to wear a seatbelt. My dad says I don't have to. There's always that one, right? You know, when I was a kid in Arizona, we could ride in the back of pickup trucks. But here was the goofy thing. You could have as many people in the back of a pickup truck as you wanted to. But if you had a dog in the back of the pickup truck, they could pull you over and give you a ticket. So dogs weren't allowed to ride in the back of pickups. People were. Yeah, I know. You figure that one out. Yeah. And dogs just jump out, woo! Yes?
Never mind. It took me when I was going to ask, how did we get 9 vans, but it says 10 vehicles right there?
There you go. Good deal. We ready? Almost done. This will be the last problem I do for the day. I think we'll be able to handle the rest. Okay, problem number 5 says the perimeter of a rectangle is 42 meters if it is 4 meters longer than it is wide. What are the dimensions? Okay. This particular problem is taken into account some prior knowledge. Okay? Perimeter is the distance of what around the edges of a rectangle. So let's think about a rectangle. You have a length, we have a width. Agreed? Okay, now, you're going to find in geometry that length can be shorter than width or it can be greater than width. There's no rhyme or reason. Your elementary school teacher always said length's always longer than width. That was a lie. Sorry. I know you liked Mrs. Johnson in 4th grade, but she was fibbing. It's like, how'd you know I had Mrs. Johnson? I'm making stuff up. Okay, so we have to remember that perimeter of a rectangle is 2L plus 2W. Okay? And if you don't remember that, just realize this. How many L's do I have? 2. How many W's do I have? 2. 2L plus 2W. All right. So they tell us that the perimeter of a rectangle is 42 meters. So now I'm going to just change this to 42 equals 2L plus 2W. Seem okay? I then know, I spelled meters wrong, sorry. It is 4 meters longer than it is wide. Meters. All right. So it's 4 more. So the length is 4 more than width. Length is 4 more than width. Okay. So the length, it is 4 meters longer than it is wide. So whatever the width is, I'm going to add 4 to it. Okay? Here's my two equations. What should I do with those two equations? What do you think? Yeah, I'm going to take this. I'm going to plug it in right there. So I get 42 equals 2 parentheses plus 2W. That was L, but I'm going to plug 4 plus W in. I'm going to distribute here. Combine like terms. And solve it. Subtract 8, subtract 8. Is that 34? Divide by 4, divide by 4. And this would be a time that I would probably, let's see, that's going to be 17 over 2, which is kind of goofy. So that's going to be 8.5 meters is the width. The length, we know this. So length equals 4 plus 8.5. So 12.5 meters. There's our dimensions of our rectangle. Yeehaw. Yes?
So you're plugging 4 plus W into L.
Uh-huh.
Oh, never mind. I see you.
You good? Cool. All right. Hey, you guys want a lot of homework for Monday?
No.
Is there ever an answer that was like, yes, saturate us in homework? All right, so friends, this week we are going to be going a lot more word problems. We'll have a quiz on Thursday. All right, so I would like us to do page 231, 232. Let's go with the evens. If you have trouble, take a look at the odds and realize if you look on Schoology, it should go and help you out. Hey. Cool, got him. Thanks.
Thank you.